Alright, Ronan MMA, welcome back to the channel. Now, tomorrow morning, UFC Fight Night Holloway vs. Zombie takes place at UFC Singapore. I'm going to be giving my picks and previewing every single fight on that card. I'm going to start with the early prelim opener and work our way up, right? And I usually try to get through the earlier ones a little bit faster so I can spend more time on the main event and the co-main event and stuff like that. Now, just a heads up, after today, I will not be uploading until Monday. I am traveling to my most hated place on planet Earth, okay, where I grew up just 20 minutes outside of Vancouver. Unfortunately, I moved 500 miles away to get away from that city, but now I'm going back to get tattooed, so I will not be recapping this event until Monday morning, unfortunately, and unless something crazy happens between now and 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, this will be that until Monday. Okay, so it is what it is. Now, anyways, before we get into it, like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to start with the first fight of the night right now. Seungwoo Choi versus Jarno ERRENS. Okay, Seungwoo Choi is on a 3-fight skid right now. 2 of them by finish. He's 10-6, which is just straight up female, okay? And half of his record actually took place outside the UFC, and when he entered the UFC, he was 7-1. So out of 8 fights, he has now lost 5 in the UFC. Not the greatest of records, okay? Jarno ERRENS, on the other hand, he's only had 1 fight in the UFC. He lost his debut by majority decision to William Gomez, who, in my opinion, is actually a very good striker, and that would be a tough debut fight. Okay, so I'm going to go with Jarno ERRENS here. I think he should get the job done. A little bit younger, taking a little bit less damage, has yet to lose by KO, and I think that he's going to be able to get past Seungwoo Choi. Not sure how, although Seungwoo Choi has been finished quite a few times, so there could be a potential for that happening. Moving up the card to LIANG versus JJ ALDRICH. Bro, no idea. Okay, there are so many people on this card that are on pretty decent sized losing streaks right now, and both of these girls are one of them, I think, right? If I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken there, but either way, dude, how am I to pick between these women's? Okay, I don't understand. I guess JJ ALDRICH has like no power whatsoever, and her fighting style is not very pretty, and she's not really amazing at anything, but at the very least she has actually beaten some decent girls in the UFC, whereas LIANG has not. She looked good pre-UFC and hasn't been able to get a win since, so fuck it, dude. I guess I'll go JJ ALDRICH, but I'm not overly confident on that pick whatsoever. Moving up the card to Billy Joff versus Yusaku Kinoshita. Okay, I'm gonna be going with Billy Joff. Who knows, dude? He's been on. Let me slow down 1 sec. Dude's been fighting pretty good competition outside of the UFC. He has had multiple fights in Bellator. He was a champion in a smaller organization. He might have been a double champ. I'm not totally sure. He has won multiple belts, however. So, Kinoshita, very young, actually had a fight after his Contender Series performance against Adam Fugit, who Adam Fugit is pretty good, and he's a little tricky to deal with, but he's not the greatest, and Adam Fugit finished him in the first round. I'm going to be going with Billy Goff either way, dude, simply because I think this kid might be a symptom of shit competition, meaning Kinoshita. Dude literally fought a guy who was 22 and 24 and 3, 17 and 19, either very, very inexperienced guys with like 1-0 or 0-1 records, or dudes that have full-on losing records. There's no one on Billy Joff's record like that. He also has 6 recorded amateur fights, so while he doesn't have like an insanely long pro career, he does have experience outside, so I think he's going to get a KO. Anyways, dude, moving up the card to Song KENAN versus Rolando Bedoya. Bro, KENAN dropped Ian Gary. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is a weird one. He's on a 2-fight skid right now to Griffin and Ian Gary. Now, Ian Gary did look good on Saturday night, but Song looks like he's in his later 40s, okay, but he's not. He's taken a lot of damage. He's been knocked out 4 times. Rolando Bedoya's all right. He lost a split decision to Chaos Williams, who I don't think is all that good. I just keep going back to that Song KENAN dropped Ian Gary. Like, do you know what I mean? The dude almost finishes Ian Gary, and now he's fighting Rolando Bedoya. I think I'm going to go with Song KENAN. Dude's tested against way higher level competition. And imagine if he would have finished Ian Gary, dude. We would be on a whole different timeline right now. But either way, I'm going to hope that he doesn't get starched and is able to do that to Rolando BEDOYA. Now moving up the card to Chidi Bang Bang NJOKUANI versus Michael OLEKSIEJCZUK. Okay. Someone's getting knocked out, I would imagine, in this fight. Both these guys, vast majority of the time, win by knockout. I'm going to go with the younger Michael OLEKSIEJCZUK here. I think he's a bit more technical on the feet, and Chidi's been KO'd more times. And OLEKSIEJCZUK looked pretty good against Barrio in the opening round, if I'm remembering that fight correctly. I just hope I can trust his chin to hold up. I am going to go with Michael OLEKSIEJCZUK by KO. Moving up the card to Toshiyama Kazama versus Garrett Armfield. I might go with Garrett Armfield, dude. He gets the vast majority of his wins by knockout. He got strangled by David Onama in his debut. Kazama's been KO'd twice throughout his career, never lost by sub, and he's only lost by decision once. Here's the problem, though. Out of 3 losses for Garrett, dude's been subbed twice. And Kazama can be tagged before being able to close the distance, like against Ryan Nakamura. Even a guy who was 2-2, he fought pre-UFC, he got flatlined with a flying knee. So he might have some troubles closing distance. A lot of his wins are over very unexperienced guys, so I am going to stick with Garrett Armfield to tag him before he gets taken down and subbed. He's got a more straightforward means to victory. Okay, moving up the card to Waldo Cortes Acosta versus Lucas BRZEKSI. Man, I've picked BRZEKSI a couple times, dude, and fuck that shit. He has not gotten a win in the UFC yet, a no contest and 2 L's in a row. What bothers me is that Waldo Cortes Acosta, what the fuck? The guy doesn't know what to do about leg kicks. Now, maybe he's gone back and addressed that since the Rogerio de Lima fight, but like Rogerio de Lima pieced him up for 2 3/4 rounds, 2.5 rounds, whatever you want to say, and Derek Lewis goes out there and makes Rogerio de Lima look like a little bitch, dude. Okay, so Waldo Cortes Acosta, while he is very good on the feet with his boxing, he does have a bit of a kryptonite there, and Lucas BRZEKSI, I would imagine, can throw a leg kick. Now, I think he would have learned from that, right, and potentially addressed it, especially after that last fight. And he has gotten multiple wins in the UFC. He's yet to get a knockout in the UFC, but still, he keeps winning by unanimous decision. BRZEKSI's only been KO'd once throughout his career, so I don't know if Costa will get him there, but I do think that Waldo Cortes Acosta will be able to hurt BRZEKSI enough throughout the course of the 3 rounds to win at least 2 out of the 3. I think he'll get it done by unanimous decision once again. Now, moving up the card to Junior TAFA versus Parker Porter. Bro, I picked Junior TAFA to beat Muhammad Usman, and he let me down. He doesn't know what to do about takedowns. He's not urgent enough to get back to his feet, and he just allowed Muhammad Usman to kind of lay on top of him. Now, there actually was an argument in that fight that Junior TAFA did more damage in 2 out of the 3 rounds because all Muhammad Usman did was fucking lay on top of him. But Parker Porter's the GOAT, man. And last time I picked against him, dude went out there and won. Do you know what I mean? He's got 4 wins by submission, and I could potentially see him going ahead sticking with the game plan that Muhammad Usman tried to carry out, but once he gets him down to the ground, is actually able to sub him. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to pick against the GOAT. He could get caught because if that is his game plan, man, closing the distance is going to be hard, and I would imagine that Junior TAFA went back and fix some things. While he looks old, he's not that old, and he's fought very high level competition in terms of striking in Glory Kickboxing and shit like that. But last time I doubted the GOAT, I got fucking embarrassed, man. Dude, I don't know who to pick. I think I'm gonna go with Junior TAFA, just because I feel as though Muhammad Usman really only got those takedowns because of how powerful he is. And while Parker Porter is an absolute athletic animal, makes Ryan Spann look like a fucking MMA Joey, I don't know that he's going to be able to close the distance the same way that Muhammad Usman is. I don't know that he's as strong as Muhammad Usman, and while his technique is way better, the guy that he fought last time, I can't remember who it was, straight up bitch after like a minute was done, and Junior TAFA's not going to run out of gas that fast, so I do think that TAFA will be able to clip him with something, hurt Parker Porter, and finish him off. Junior TAFA by KO, but I tell you what, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if the GOAT gets it done once again. All right, now this is actually a women's fight I'm kind of stoked for. I don't get excited about a whole lot of women's women's bouts, but we've got Erin Blanchfield and Taila Santos here. Okay, Erin Blanchfield, in my opinion, she's good everywhere. She hasn't lost since 2019, and it was a split decision to Tracy Cortez, pardon me. Both of them were very young in their pro career. I think if she were to fight Tracy Cortez today, she would absolutely fucking maul her. She's got a good mix of finishes, but also has a good amount of decision wins, showing that she can go the full distance. She can do enough in the round to actually win the rounds and isn't just relying solely on a finish. Now, Taila Santos is a very big girl. She is jacked, and she's got more fucking armpit hair than me. Okay, dude, now maybe it was just a bad picture, and she hadn't shaved, but regardless, she's pretty jacked, okay? And she's got a pretty good record. She's got 10 KOs, and that, for a woman, is crazy. 3 subs also. She's only ever lost by decision, and one of them was to Valentina, but those 10 KOs, all 10 of them, came before the UFC. She couldn't finish Molly McCann, Jillian Robertson, Roxanne Modafferi. All of those were decision wins. She's only got 1 finish within the UFC, and she's been around for a good while, okay? She's also a little older than Erin. I just think Erin Blanchfield's too good, man. And I don't think she's going to get flatlined. We saw her be able to avoid big shots from Jessica Andrade and actually piece Jessica Andrade up on the feet with a jab and shit like that. And then when it came time to take her down and sub her, easy peasy. Do you know what I mean? So I think she's going to be able to avoid the big shots of Taila Santos. Now, Taila Santos is going to be a little bit harder to take down and control, as we saw her do pretty well on the ground against Valentina Shevchenko, but I am going to go with Erin Blanchfield. Taila Santos is a hard woman to finish, so I am going to go with Blanchfield by decision. I think that she's going to be able to do enough within the rounds to outdamage, score takedowns, pass, and, you know, effective grappling and shit like that. So Erin Blanchfield by decision. Moving up the card to Rinya Nakamura versus Fernie Garcia. Nakamura, undefeated, 7-0, 5 KOs, 1 sub, 1 decision. He got a finish in his first fight in the UFC also, which is awesome. Not just against unexperienced guys is he able to get finishes, which we do see that a lot. Also, the guy he was fighting before had pretty good records as well, which again is it's rare these days. Sometimes when you look at the guys on the Contender Series and then you go look at their pre-UFC shit, you're like, Jesus, dude, no wonder they have so many wins. Do you know what I mean? Either way, Fernie Garcia does not, however, have the same level of finishing ability. The vast majority of his wins coming by decision. Though he has never been finished, he's on a 2-fight skid in his first two UFC fights against Journey Newson, who I don't think is all that good, and Brady Highstand, who is good, but you know what I mean. He's not like top level competition yet. I guess he's young in his career. Mexican fighters are hard to put away, man, and they're pretty good at dishing out damage also. But his first good opponent was his Contender Series one. If you go look at his pre-UFC records, and then you know he gets the job done, but is able to do so against actual UFC competition, not just a guy also trying to compete for a UFC contract. So I'm gonna go with fucking Rinya Nakamura to clip Fernie Garcia either enough times to win the rounds, right? Like drop him or wobble him or whatever, have the bigger moments in the rounds to win those rounds and get a unanimous decision, or possibly get a TKO. I don't think he's going to absolutely flatline Fernie Garcia, but I do think he could potentially get a TKO, maybe even like a standing TKO. Anyways, moving up. Giga Chikadze versus Alex Caceres. Man, Alex Caceres has looked in his last few, but if we look at the guys that he's beaten, like Pineda is not a striker, right? He can punch and shit like that, but he has so many fucking submissions. That's all he wants to do. I mean, Alex still looked good, to be fair, and he also looked good against Rosa. That was a very fast fight. It was a perfect head kick, and it is what it is. I pick against him almost every time, simply because he's a fucking vegan. Giga, dude, Jesus Christ. Giga Chikadze and Alex, they're both a little older for the featherweight division. They're not super old, but they're in that, like, mid-30s range. My problem with Giga Chikadze is if you fight someone who isn't just going to fold right away, it seems like he kind of has problems. You know what I mean? And Calvin Kattar beat the ever-living fuck out of him. Also, Alex Caceres, he's a pretty elusive guy. Like, I don't know that Giga Chikadze is going to be able to... Giga Chikadze loads up on his shit a lot. Like, that Giga kick is full-on back leg round kick. Like, he puts everything into it. He takes a step before he does it. You can see it coming. It's just that it's so powerful that even if you get an arm down there, You know, you could dig your own elbow into your goddamn liver with that shit, or you break your arm or whatever. Like, his kick is very powerful. He does have punching power as well, right? He starched Edson Barboza, but he's got good finishes on his record, man. The Barboza win was good. The Cub Swanson win was good. He's got a unanimous decision over Omar Morales, who's also pretty good. His finishing rate in the UFC is not great, right? Out of 8 fights, he's gotten 3 finishes. He's had a big layoff. It's been almost 2 years. Barboza and Swanson are a little older in their careers also. Cub Swanson, definitely. Barboza did kind of turn back the clock his last performance against Billy Quarantillo. God damn, dude. Giga Chikadze does have better wins on his record. And Alex Caceres getting a 3-fight winning streak going, that's like too good to be true. The guy's only done that, I think, twice in his career. And one or both of them were very early on against like not so great competition. Do you know what I mean? So since then, he's only been on a 3-fight or more win streak twice in his career, in his UFC career, which stretches back to 2011, right? So they were long time ago. I just don't, I don't think Alex Caceres, I think Giga Chikadze is going to be able to get him with something. I mean, if that kick lands on a vegan, he may have to get rushed to the hospital. Who knows, dude? He doesn't have the protein or the extra muscle mass to deal with a shot like that. So, I'm going to go with Giga Chikadze to be able to damage Alex Caceres enough to get the job done. I could potentially see him finishing. Caceres is a hard guy to finish. He, like, despite his record being horrible, I wouldn't call him chinny. Do you know what I mean? So I'm gonna go with Giga Chikadze, but I would not be surprised if Alex Caceres gets the job done, because he's been more active. He's been looking good. It looks as though he's even made improvements, which is crazy considering how many fights he has. Giga Chikadze is coming back off of a very long layoff. He's not a glass cannon, because he definitely showed us that he's tough as fucking nails, right? In that Calvin Kattar fight, he was very tough. All toughness on display, but it seems like if he doesn't get the job done by finish early on, then it's a little iffy for him. So I'm gonna go with Giga, but I'm not overly confident on that pick, if I'm being brutally honest, man. All right, Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann. Okay, dude. I mean, as fucking delusional as Anthony Smith is, dude, Ryan Spann is not that good. And I am so fucking sick and tired of hearing him, when he loses, say that he doesn't train or doesn't have a coach or fucking whatever, dude. And then when he wins, pretends like he does train. And then he goes and gets a loss again. And he goes, yeah, I really gotta, like, get a trainer. I don't even really train. Shut the fuck up, dude. I don't know what it is. I don't like Ryan Spann. And, I know Anthony Smith looked like... Dude, I can't believe I'm thinking about picking Anthony Smith here. I just really don't think that highly of Ryan Spann. And while Anthony Smith got the ever-living fuck beaten out of him by Johnny Walker, he didn't look chinny. Like, he took big shots. Do you know what I mean? And Ryan Spann, in my opinion, is not nearly as skilled as Johnny Walker. While he's long, and he's powerful... But I don't think he's as skilled. I don't think he can stick to a game plan like Johnny Walker did, where he's kicking the legs constantly. And Anthony Smith showed us that he is leagues above Ryan Spann on the ground also. I don't even know why this is happening. Ryan Spann looked like a fucking amateur against Anthony Smith. I'm torn, dude. Anthony Smith is insane. Like, he's nuts. He's delusional. He's whack. And he's definitely close to retirement. He has not looked good in his last few fights, and while he's on a bit of a skid right now, right, one of them was Magomed Ankalaev, and it was an injury, and I mean, he potentially would have lost that fight anyways, but he looked all right in the opening round. And then the next one was to Johnny Walker, who's clearly made like big improvements since going to SBG. So yeah, I'm torn, dude. God damn. What the fuck? I don't know who to pick, man. I'm being honest here too, and I know that there's people that are gonna be calling me crazy or some shit because Anthony Smith is Anthony Smith. Do you know what I mean? You're attacking my family and all that shit, but I just really don't think that highly of Ryan Spann, and I don't think that if it even gets past like the first 4 minutes, Ryan Spann's gonna really have anything for Anthony Smith. Like, Ryan Spann's got a lot of KOs on his record, fine. Everybody knocks out Dom Reyes, dude. Do you know what I mean? Fucking hell, man. I'm going to pick the deluded, insane Anthony Smith. And if you wish, tear me to shreds in the comment sections, but I can't bring myself to pick Ryan Spann, and I don't know why. I just don't think that highly of him. I don't think he's that good. And like, how much could he have possibly improved? Anthony Smith literally made him look like a fucking amateur. And I would imagine that after that fight, Anthony Smith tried his best to go back and work on leg kick defense and stuff like that, even though he's a little old to be breaking bad habits. So that might, you know, who knows. But even still, Johnny Walker's leg kicks are a lot sneakier than any leg kick that's going to come from Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann doesn't know how to be sneaky. Do you know what I mean? So, look, if I get proved wrong, I'm not going to be upset. I'll tell you that, okay? Moving on to the main event. Max Holloway versus the Zombie. Dude, this might be like the biggest lock of the year. And I shouldn't even say that because I might jinx it. But Max Holloway's going to absolutely decimate the Korean Zombie. And it's going to be sad, man. It's going to be sad. It just is. This is a weird fight. I don't even really know why they're making it. I guess Max Holloway's run out of contenders to beat up. But I just think Max Holloway's going to piece him up. Do you know what I mean? And I know that Max Holloway brought up a good point, kind of. He said, you know, if I was coming off of my Volk fight right now, too, and he was coming off of his Volk fight, you guys would be saying the same thing about me. You know what I mean? Guys, I'm only 30, guys. You'd be saying the same thing about me, guys. If I was coming off my Volk fight, guys, you'd be saying the same thing about me, guys. And they would be, because he got the absolute shit beaten out of him against Volkanovski. But he's way younger. And he's still got it, man. He made Arnold Allen, like, he schooled Arnold Allen. You know what I mean? Arnold Allen landed some good shots against Max Holloway, made it a competitive fight, but Max Holloway kind of showed him what's what. Korean Zombie, in my opinion, doesn't have anything for Max Holloway. Dude, this is a tough one. I don't even really want to, I'm going to watch it, obviously, and I want to watch it, but I don't really want to watch the Korean Zombie just get brutalized again and then have to retire. And he's so crazy too, man, because he's even saying his retirement's based off of, he's not going to retire, like, he said that his retirement is going to be determined of how he performs on Saturday night. So I could see a world in which Max Holloway doesn't finish him, but brutalizes him for 5 rounds straight, and the Korean Zombie just goes, hey, I didn't get finished, and he's the best guy in the world, so I'm gonna keep going. I just hope that's not the case, man. It's horrible. It's horrible. Max Holloway's gonna brutalize him. I don't know if he'll get a TKO. I could see this going all 5 rounds, but I could also see somebody stepping in the corner, or the referee in between rounds, kind of like we saw against Ortega. And, you know, almost similar to the Zombie versus Volk, like, Herb Dean let him come out for that round, but only gave him a few more shots and then was like, nah, fuck that. Because obviously he hadn't recovered enough in between rounds to stop whatever Volk was doing from him. So I thought that was a fine stoppage. There were people shitting on that, but it was like, yeah, well, I've seen enough. Do you know what I mean? So we could have something similar to that. Max Holloway doesn't have the same kind of pop on his shots that Volkanovski does, obviously, but the volume's crazy, and he's just going to be bopping him in the face all night long. It's going to be brutal, man. Brutal. Could you imagine if the Zombie finishes Max Holloway and we're all fucking nuts? Like, that's not going to happen, obviously, but Jesus Christ, dude. I feel bad for the Korean Zombie. I hope Max doesn't brutalize him too badly, but considering Max, for the first time in his career, was emotional at the media day shit, dude, that was weird to watch. Like, there's a weird feeling that you get when you watch another grown man cry, especially when you know that he's a professional fighter, and when you think that, I believe it was the second Volk fight in Abu Dhabi, his cousin, who he was extremely close with, died like 6 days before that fight. Not a fucking hint of a tear coming out of his eye, just the headband. And now he's extremely emotional over the wildfires, obviously. And look, dude, I know people that have lost businesses over there. It's crazy, and I don't blame him, but I'm just saying, there's like a weird feeling, especially when you know that he's been through a ton of shit and hasn't cried a single time throughout his UFC career. And you know that, like, it's like when you see your dad cry, dude. You never see him fucking cry, but then when you do that 1 or 2 times throughout your childhood, you're like, oh no, dude, that's bad, because you know that it takes a whole lot to get that kind of emotion to come out of him. And it made me, I was like, God damn, dude, really? It's a weird feeling you get. It's a very weird feeling. And, you know, he's going to want to put on a show. So I feel bad for the Korean Zombie. But anyways, dude, Max Holloway by brutalization. I don't know if maybe a late round TKO, like corner throwing in the towel, or the referee calling it off in between rounds. Or we get a brutalization over 5 rounds, Max Holloway. All day over the Korean Zombie. That's it, dude. Like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I will see you at the next one. Bye-bye.